Welcome to Moonscapes. It's May 20th, 2013, a Monday night. We are working with a gibbous moon headed towards full. Got a nice image, and we're doing a little experimenting tonight. As I said in my last video, I was going to try my smaller refractor, an Orion 4.7 inch refractor, slightly smaller than 5 inches. And the problem I had with that telescope before was that it's being a straight refractor, it's an achromat, which means red, blue, and green don't come to focus perfectly. And as good as they make the optics with an achromat these days, there's some blue fringing. So I picked up a minus blue filter, which is supposed to cut out that blue. And here we got some drifting here, but it's going to cause another problem, as you can see. Notice as we drift towards the edge, it causes a green tinge to occur, so I've got to be a little bit careful of that at times. That's going to rear its ugly head if I'm not too careful at times. But the image looks nice and clean. Does not look like there's blue fringing. That blue would normally show up along the edge, around the bright edge. You would see it very easily visually, and it would show up on this image pretty well too. I'm working with a 13 millimeter eyepiece. As you can see, it's got some zoom, not an awful lot. Looking at the image tonight, I almost wish I had gone with the 2x Barlow and given it some more power. We're a little short on power tonight. If you viewed my last video from the other night, which I put up, and I experimented with this 13 millimeter eyepiece, I used a 2x Barlow, and boy, I just didn't realize on my previous screen how horrible the seeing conditions were. And that video quality is not all that good. It's very soft and mushy, and I could not believe the dust particles around that lens either. I had that lens packed away for some time. The eyepiece was put away for quite a while. I pulled it out, gave it a quick brush off, but I didn't do a good enough job on it. A lot of that showed up. And here's that fringing again with the green. If we let that moon drift down near the bottom, it shows the green of that filter doing its job. So we've got to kind of keep that out of the mix. We're right now down in, this is the northern part of the moon, over near 3 o'clock, that large flat-floored crater. Let me see, let's kind of bring that more to the middle. And then I'll zoom in. I'm not going to have a lot of zoom, like I say, this is a lower power. We're working without the Barlow tonight. Plato is fairly nearly centered. Let's see if I can do something with the settings here and get a little better view of that. Let's see. Right now I'm in auto. Let's take the auto settings off. I don't know why that's drifting the way it should come back here. And, okay, let's see what we can do now. Drop the exposure down. That's a little better. Drop the brightness down a little bit. And there we go. A little better there. Let's see how we do here. There. Now we got a little more control of what's going on up here in the northern hemisphere of the moon. As I say, that a large flat-floored crater is Plato. I've got my computer going here with my atlas, lunar atlas on it. Let's use that, and I can give you some diameters. Plato's a fairly large crater. Yeah, it's 61 miles in diameter. It'd be nice if we had some higher power. If you get in there really with enough power, there are actually some craterlets that are on the floor. They're a mile and under in diameter. And in fact, some of the old mappers of years gone back from the 1800s, they used to map some small craters in there, and if they had a good enough scope, good enough eyesight, they used to plot quite a few of the craters in that floor. By the way, I'm also using the focus tonight. I believe right now I've got it in auto, which I rarely do. I've got to look. Yeah, it's in auto. Let me get back out of here. What do I do here? What just happened here? See, this is going to be a little experiment because I'm working with a everything's new here with that filter. Yeah, see, when I hit that button, everything jumped, and I've got to get back to the settings. Yeah, there's going to be a little issue controlling it with that new filter. There we go. We got it back again. Oh, pardon me. I still have some leftover effects from that bronchitis I was talking about. It was the reason that my good friend, an imaging expert, and I didn't get to do a video together. We got that wicked case of bronchitis when he was visiting from Idaho when we went to that convention. We both got it, and so we just couldn't get out and do that video. One of the things I'm interested in tonight with using this filter is the color and the floor of those mare. Let me see. That large mare over on the right hand, kind of middle right side of the screen, is a mare imbrium. And notice you can see some coloration in that floor. There's what looks like a large V that comes down near the middle of it, and the bottom half of it is a darker blue. And let's turn the color up and see what happens. I'm going to inch the color up slowly. It's going up. We're up near 50-60%. And yeah, notice now it's really coming in darker. Look at that blue. That blue really popped up. Pardon me again. That's probably a little too much, though, because I notice over near the left-hand side of the screen that it's getting some false color. That's a little too much. Let's drop it back down around. I'm right around 50% now. That's a little better. But you can notice a definite marking there, which is kind of a blue compared to the lighter gray on top. Now, if we go, let me see, we've got to move this over and up. Let's see, up and over. Okay. Okay, right here we have mare serenitatis, the circular mare up on top, mare tranquility on the bottom, and that's a definite. You can see that. Let's adjust the exposure, see if we can bring the. There we go. We can bring some of that detail up near the edge of the moon, and also turn the brightness down a little bit. I don't like to turn that brightness down. It really doesn't do justice. Yeah, for a little bit, it brings up some detail. You can see. It does help bring out the detail a little bit. But look at that definite divider line between mare serenitatis and mare tranquility. And that is definitely a bluish color. That color is coming out very, very nice tonight using this violet filter. And if we keep on going over, I'm going to put near the center of that. That's mare chrism, that roundish mare. It's over on the left-hand side. I want to see something here. Where am I with my zoom? I got a little zoom. Yes, let's go in. I can zoom in a little bit better here and get a look at that. Okay, that's about as far as it's letting me go in. And then if we play with the controls over here, we can see. If we can see a little more. There we go. There's some gorgeous detail now. First of all, well, let me get it near center. See, there's no doubt about what I'm talking about here. Okay, dead center is mare chrism. That's that large flat floor circular pattern there. Notice over at 3 o'clock from that, or over on the right hand side, is that bright white crater with a spray pattern. that goes out more up towards the upper left and almost nothing down towards the bottom part of it. We've talked about this crater numerous times in my past videos. That is the crater Proclus. And that was obviously caused by a very low impact, not very low impact, but a very low angled meteor or small asteroid, causing a spray pattern to go out in a definite pattern, and avoiding the lower half there. Proclus, let me see, I might have trouble finding that on my map here because it doesn't display it as the same. I've got all the lettering on my map. Let me turn those off, and I want to see if I can, there we go, that should be it right there. Proclus, that's one of the smaller ones around it. This atlas, if you don't, you got to move it around. If you have it on an area that's right nearby and there's a small crater, it'll give you like, now it's giving me Proclus 5. Now that's one of the small little craters that are there, which we're not seeing. I don't know why it's not letting me pick it up. I'm picking up everything in the world but Proclus P. See, they do not display the crater really well on this map, and I'm having a hard time finding it to get its mileage. Its miles. Proclus 5 is giving me something like 11 miles, but I know Proclus itself is larger than that. We'll forget about that now. We won't waste any more time on that. Let's move along here a little bit. Let's get over near the Terminator. See what's going on over there. Okay, as I said, up on top there is Plato. And right about at center now, we have the craters Archimedes, which is dead center. It's that large flat-floored crater. I've got to check and see where I left my zoom here. I don't know if I left myself any. I got to go back to the zoom. Yeah, I'm already pretty much zoomed in, so we can't do much with that. Like I said, I wish I had gone with my Barlow tonight and gotten in a little closer. The scene seems to be actually pretty good. But anyway, and then just to the 11 o'clock position of Archimedes, that's Archimedes, the flat-floored crater. That's Autolycus, and that is 24 miles in diameter. And then up from Archimedes, and again Archimedes says, well, let's get this centered up again because I think I kind of messed up as I was talking here about it. Yeah, the Archimedes is that flat-floored crater in the middle of the screen now. And going up near towards 11 o'clock, the larger of those two craters to the upper left. That crater is Aristillus, and that's 33 miles in diameter. And then over farther is one of the nicer features in this area of the moon, is that, and we're going to have to play with some adjustments here. We have to change. The lighting conditions here are much different. We've got to, what happens if I put it in auto? Let's give it auto a chance first and see what it does. Kind of blowing out. I'm not too happy with that. For some reason, the mount is kind of running away and drifting on its own a little bit tonight, and I don't know. I might have a balance issue out there. Let me do this manually. That's a little better. And a little better still. What happens when we play contrast games? Yeah, I just boosted the contrast. You can really see that bluish V in there now. That U-shaped feature, it actually has, well, I've got to get it centered on my map here. I want to make sure I have the right, one of those is Promontory Laplace, and that is the one which is closest to Plato. The edge of the U that is closest to that Plato on the left-hand side of the U is called promontory Laplace, and then the other part of the other edge of the U on the other side is promontory Hercules. That's a very, very interesting feature. And the whole area itself, the whole U-shaped area itself, is called Sinus Iridum. Okay, let's move around. Look at I'm 15 minutes in already. As I said, I've gotten in the habit of trying to check that time out, because if you don't watch it, it gets away from you, and you just don't realize how fast it goes. Okay, now we're going up along the Terminator, and we're coming to a fascinating area. That large crater, let me put it near the center, is Copernicus. It's on the order, I don't even have to look it up, it's, if I remember correctly, it's on the order of like 57 miles in diameter. Let's see, it's a little bit overblown. Let me play some games. Let's see if I can bring that in a little bit. There we go. Lost some of the edge detail, but you can see that's a crater with a lot of detail in it. It's got terraced walls, and it's got mountains in its floor. And we've talked about those mountains in the past. As I said, there was a lot of sites were claiming that mountains were, artificial, and of course they're not. They're just a result of impacts under the right conditions. Also, I'd like to mention another thing. I ran into a couple of sites. I can't say they gave false information, but I think they gave information because it was something they weren't familiar with. It's when they would find certain areas on the moon, and they would use these maps and say there were places that are blocked out. And right away, of course, that's the conspiracy theorists popping up and saying, NASA's hiding something else from us because they blocked this part of the map out. Well, I can tell you, from being an amateur astronomer for 57 years, I have just about almost every map that was ever put out for observing the moon. I have numerous books on the moon. There is no place on the moon that has not been mapped and it is blocked out by NASA. If you've got a map that's got a blocked out section on it, more than likely what you have is a map from a mission where this will be more for the more recent missions, which are still actually imaging. You got to remember the orbital mechanics come into play here. And if that satellite, as it orbits the moon, is taking the images, it has to have the sun angle has to be right when it goes over the area to take these images. If it's not right, it won't take the images, or it will take them and they won't be of really good quality. So it takes time to get every single one of these spots imaged on these missions. So sometimes what they'll do is they'll put out a map, and it'll have an area that hasn't been properly imaged yet. And so that image will just appear black on the map until NASA has a chance to fill in that area with a good photograph. So that's the story with these blacked out areas on the moon. I don't know what these people are talking about when they say they found a blacked out area on the moon and NASA's hiding. No, I've got every map there is. There are no blocked out places on the moon. Again, if you disagree with me, you disagree with me. I'm sorry. That's what I know about it, and that's all I can say. While we're in this area, that large Copernicus, which is near center, which is gorgeous. Notice upper left of that, going up towards 12 o'clock, that crater is Eratosthenes. That's 35 miles in diameter. And again, like I said, I wish we had a little more power to play with tonight. But as I said, I was doing this experiment with this eyepiece and this filter. So I left myself a little short on power tonight. As you can see, look, I can back out and get a larger area. But I can't get in very close, so we're going to be stuck with that. Let's play with some more settings here. Okay, I'm in the center of the moon. I'm going to go back and put it back on auto. And it doesn't do too bad. Here, when you're in the middle, it looks actually pretty good. And as I said, I've got my I have my autofocus on it. I never work with that, and it's the first time I've really done that. I'm going to shut it off. Okay, autofocus is off. I'm in manual focus now, and let's bring this up and get it sharp looking. And you got to get it back. Okay, it looks pretty good right about there, I would say. That's too much. Bring it back. It's very, very touchy. That's pretty good there. Now watch, let's see. Let's put auto back, and let's see if it does anything. Let's see if it helps it or makes it worse. Okay, auto's back on. Actually, there's not too much difference tonight. And the reason being, we have better seeing here in Connecticut, where I am, Terryville, Connecticut. Much better than the other night when I was out. And we're using a lower power, so we're not forcing the issue tonight. We're not really pushing it, and so it's a little easier on the focusing. Right center of the screen, that mountain range, it's really kind of washed out because there's no shadows being thrown by the sun. But you can see it. It's I can center it up a little better. It's kind of drifted over to the left side of the screen. I put it dead center, but it kind of runs diagonally through the center. That's the Apennine mountain range. That's a gorgeous, gorgeous mountain range. It's really nice when the Terminator or the sunrise line is right along that mountain range. It throws beautiful shadows, and the peaks are just phenomenal. Okay, we'll move on up and along the Terminator a little more. This feature has always interested me, and let me see. See Copernicus, the big, large crater that we talked about. It's over near, it's kind of to the right side of the screen, near about the 2 o'clock position maybe. And I'm going to drop an area straight down, right almost dead center. Now, see that dark patch? And again, it has that bluish look of the mare floor. That is not marked. Yeah, well, wait a minute, I take that back. There is a marking for a mare there. It's Sinus ostium. And for some reason, it's very, very dark. And it's a very small area of darkness. And it always stands out, and I've always marveled at that. It's really a pretty neat feature. I can see the autofocus moving around a little bit there now. You see that jumping in and out. That's with the autofocus working, clicking on and off. Seems to be jumping around quite a bit right now. So for right now, let's shut the auto off. I got to get back to the autofocus setting. I lost track of where I am. There we go. Okay, let's shut the auto off. And let's focus. And we'll get rid of that jumping around. Looks pretty good right about in there. Okay. And we'll work with that. And we'll go back. Okay, let's move. Okay. I'm going to bring a feature over to the center of the field here. Right dead center, there's two very, very large craters side by side. The one on the right side is Ptolemaios. That crater is 93 miles in diameter. And if they don't throw me a curveball here on the crater to the left of it, Albertiginus is the crater which is right next to it. So you've got two large craters side by side. The one on the left side is Albertiginus, and that is listed at 82 miles across. But what I want to show you here, which I think is pretty neat, and this shows up much, much better when this crater is right on the Terminator, or right on the sunrise, sunset line of the moon. Now let's try to bring this into the center a little better. Hitting every button but the right one. Okay, it's almost centered now. Notice Ptolemaios, the first of those two large craters. Right below that, there's another large, fairly large crater. And notice in it, and let me see if I have, zoomed in all the way as far as I can on this feature. I think I've got all the zoom I got. Notice inside that crater those three dark markings. We've seen those before. They stand out. They're quite mysterious. I don't know exactly what they are. They're not features as far as hills or mountains go, or other craters. But they are interesting features. And what's interesting about this is I remembered one night when I was doing one of those videos, and I'm going to let you listen. Don't know if you could hear that, but that's a church bell right back over my left shoulder, and it kind of gives it an old feel, the old days of the old-time astronomers out there with their scopes mapping the moon, and the church bells in the distance. Kind of neat. Anyway, back to our friend there. That crater is, let me see, I've got to get back to my map. That crater is Alphonse. And those dark markings, when the crater is on a Terminator, they really stand out, and they're beautiful. But I know one night we were doing the moon, and it was right around full, and I said I was going to look for them. I actually found the crater when I reviewed the video the next day, and you could see those three spots as clear as a bell on the full moon. You could not see the walls of the crater at all. The only reason you knew you were in the area of Alphonse was those three spots that form that dark triangle within that crater stood out even on a night of full moon. So they're pretty interesting. Don't know what they are, but they're really quite interesting. Going to head back up right here now. Okay, right at 6 o'clock coming into the field of view is Tycho. Beautiful crater, extensive ray pattern. See the rays coming out, those lines coming out of it? Let me make sure I've got that far enough up into the field so I don't lose it. There. Those rays go for hundreds and hundreds of miles on the surface. Whatever slammed the moon there really did a number and caused a huge spray pattern. I'm going to play with the contrast. There, bringing the contrast here, you can see that kind of makes them stand out a little better. I wonder if brightness will do anything for us. Yeah, no. But you can really see that's a very extensive ray pattern. That's like taking a big rock and throwing it in a big pile of mud and just watching it splash off all over the place, and that's basically what has happened there. And I believe Tycho, I think it's 57 miles in diameter. Let me see how well my memory is. Let me get to my map here. I've got to find Tycho in this mess here. The crater's at the bottom here. There it is. It's over here. And in this mess, it's really... yeah, Tycho. Tycho's 52 miles in diameter, so I was off a little bit. I said 57. It's 52 miles in diameter. And we'll go all the way up to the top. And there, this whole area is the Southern Highlands, and this is the most cratered area of the moon. Let's play with some of these settings, see what we can do with them. gives you a better view of the whole complex of craters there. A little too dark for my liking, though. Let's turn it back up just a little bit. And get a little. That's a bit too much. Back down. Okay, something I want to try. We're 30 minutes in. Here we go. It's just unbelievable. I want to get down and I want to show one more thing before I end this video tonight. When you get down in this area here, actually I think I went a bit too far. What we probably need to do is to, let's drop the zoom a little bit. Okay. Actually, what I'm looking for is the ray pattern in Copernicus. Copernicus is that crater right over near the, like we talked about earlier, it's right over near 3 o'clock, right near the Terminator. It's got a nice ray pattern, but it's not showing up that well tonight, and the crater Kepler, which is nearby, is not out into the sun area yet, so we can't really check that area out tonight. But we can get over to this side and get a little more look at how the color. I'm really surprised. That filter has done well. The color has stayed very steady. We haven't got wild variations. Yeah, see, the color is all the way down now, see, and it's that gray. And watch, we'll bring it up, bring the color intensity up until it starts to show something. We're at about 20, it's still nothing. We get about 30, we start to get a hint here, 30 and 40 and 50, and we start to get a hint there of that bluish. There you can really see it nice. You can see mare tranquility and mare serenitatis. Serenitatis up on top of the brownish green, tranquility to the blue on the bottom. So I like what this filter is doing. It's showing us those color variations, but we're not getting wild variations from the mountain ranges, which can happen sometimes. So it's going to be interesting, all in all, to see how this plays out. But anyway, I think, looking at the clock, I've gone long enough with this again tonight, and I better cut it off here. Not sure when we'll get back with the next video, and now I've got a decision to make each night I go out, whether I use my Skywatcher, the Maksutov Cassegrain, which is a longer focal length, higher power telescope, and we can get it closer in, or we use this refractor, and I can even use a lower power eyepiece and get nearly the full moon in. So I guess it's whatever I feel like, and whatever phase the moon is in. We have a choice of 2 nice telescopes now that we can work with and get some nice views of the moon. So with that, I'm going to say go with health, clear skies, guys, and we'll see you next time with a new video. Take care, guys.